Dr. Kyle Peacock. Tonight we are doing our immunity makeover workshop. So the fun thing about tonight is that we are equipping you to basically, I want to strengthen you. I want to empower you, the patient, you, the person, during this pandemic. And so let's just call it out like it is. We are doing an immunity workshop during a pandemic. So the giant elephant in the room has a name, and everyone's thinking about it right now, and it is COVID-19. Now, what this workshop is and what it is not. This workshop is not going to be, I am giving you arrows and bullets so that you can fire at your friends on Facebook. That is not what this is about. I'm not interested in just pure hatred going on right now. There is discrimination, there is bullying. We have endorsements, bullying from politicians from their podiums on people because of their health choices. Guys, I just want to get everyone's attention just for a second. I'm going to speak from the heart. Nothing entitles another human being to demean someone else, make fun of them, and harass them and discriminate and prejudice against them based on a health choice or a religious choice or a medical exemption. Guys, this is a weird time we're in right now. So I just want to advise you guys, this is what I speak to my church about, my usher team, is next time someone's bantering and bickering about whether they got the vaccine or whether they like masks or what the next thing is, I want you to crush it with love. And what I mean by that is just simply coming at it from a side of just saying, hey, do you know their story? Did you ask them why? Like, I don't need the facts, I don't need the science or the data. Guys, I know people who've lost friends and family to COVID, and guys, I know people who've also had people hospitalized from this shot. They're both on two different ends, and guys, I'm going to tell you flat out, like I stand for health freedom. One of the base American facts is that you have freedom of choice, freedom of voting, freedom of speech, freedom to choose whatever God you want and worship whatever God you want. But guys, freedom of health decisions is another one. So I want to just speak to that right now. Just number one, this is not a equip yourself with ammo so you can go throw it at people. In fact, do not do that on Facebook. That is not, I don't advise that at all. Not going to be beneficial. All right. And the same thing I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about where we're at with this pandemic, but more specifically, can I just be honest? Like, I don't want to settle for the box of COVID-19. Like, I would rather prepare your body for all viruses and bacteria and fungi and any kind of antigen that's trying to attack you. I want to equip you to be stronger for that. So when we get overly focused on one single thing, we tend to let other things around us die. And that's where I want to jump in today, because this is our mission. Like, we want to empower you through chiropractic care and the 5 essentials. So when we walk through the 5 essentials, this is where we're trying to integrate them into your lives, because when you do these things, you have healthier outcomes. No one, guys, keep in mind, no one can guarantee you what's going to happen tomorrow, especially with a virus, right? So this is the quote we're going to be focusing on. Now keep in mind, B.J. Palmer, who was the son of the discoverer of chiropractic, D.D. Palmer, keep in mind, this is over 100 years old. He said this quote here, and this is going to be our theme for the evening. He said, while other professions are concerned with changing the environment to suit the sick individual, chiropractic care is seeking to strengthen the individual to suit any environment. So what does that mean during a pandemic, or what does that mean for your immune system? Well, plain and simple, it is this. It is, while we're trying to masks or shutdowns or vaccines or whatever, we're trying to change the environment with this pandemic too much. And if you haven't noticed, we're not exactly winning. Right? I wouldn't say we're losing, but we're not winning. Like we were told, I'm just gonna call it like it is, guys, and I don't mean to bash your favorite politician or people that work in the CDC. I'm not here to bash them. I'm just gonna call it like it is. First wave of COVID, right? We were told that shutdowns and social distancing would solve the problem. That would crush it and help. And the reality is, like, did it help maybe a little bit? I don't know, but my point is, COVID came back for a second round. And then what we were told is that the masks, which we were told were horribly ineffective, like the first round, we were told that the virus goes right through the mask, which indeed it does. The second round, we were told, no, masks, they didn't admit they were wrong. They said, nope, new data is in. We're not wrong, we're always right. But it's gonna save your life. These masks will change, like if everyone wears their mask, this will be gone. And then now we're in a round 3. and we're actually coming down from around 3. And as you well aware, the vaccine was told that this would end it. And in fact, you could take your mask off if you got fully vaccinated. And within 2 months, they reneged that order. There was no data that supported that. And guys, I just want to hear me out for a second. Like this virus, we have not been able we've barely been able to name it, let alone contain it. It's a common cold at the core. We haven't defeated the common cold in decades. Like I don't think it's going to happen this year. So I'm gonna pick from Dr. Lopato, who's the general surgeon down in Florida. He has this mentality that basically says, learn to live with it. Like don't fear it. Learn to live with it. And what he means by that is like we've got to make ourselves stronger. He's actually quoted, guy. This is a guy that just started as a Surgeon General down in Florida. I bring his name up because he's the first person in a state leadership COVID-19 role that who's mentioned, by the way, you need to lose weight, eat healthier, and exercise consistently. The first person to encourage something healthy for you. Everyone's been talking about what to hide from or what to cover yourself with or who to stay away from or what not to do, but they never actually told you what to do. And this is the first medical doctor I've heard from a leadership COVID-19 capacity that basically said, yes, first of all, he doesn't believe that lockdowns and shutdowns are effective. In fact, he said they increase mortality rate for those in Florida. And he said, we are no longer going to be telling noble lies, but we are going to let the data speak for ourselves. Right? So I just want to give a huge shout out. That's the type of leadership I want to see happen and multiply around the country, because he says this, mandates are not going to happen here. They are your choice. And this is where, once again, this just gets back to the freedoms of being an American, what it means to be an American, is he goes, I recommend it, but I will never mandate it. Right? So he's saying, but furthermore, we need to explore other options. And one of those other options is getting healthier. And that's what tonight is about, because this is what we're talking about. This quote right here. We're not concerning ourselves just with our surroundings, but we're going to also focus on you, the individual, right? So we got to talk about like, where are we? So I just want to be like, once again, very, very clear. I want to end this very shortly. We can be here all night bashing the CDC or the FDA or our governments or how they failed and how none of the data is adding up. And I mean, guys, come on, we can complain all night. I mean, my patients, I'm talking to you right now, like my parents who have kids in the schools, and you guys talk about the school boards and how you've been writing to them. Like, I hear you, I feel for you, but keep writing. You know, you feel like your state senator is not listening. I know, I hear you, but keep writing, right? Keep talking, but please use your tongue wisely, right? I mean, come on, God gave you 2 ears and 1 tongue, please use them appropriately, right? Speak to them out of love and concern for your child, not out of anger, right? Scripture says, right, be slow to anger and quick to listen, right? And slow to speak. Like, guys, please use that appropriately. But the point is like, I don't want to spend here bashing like all of the plans and the policies and the agenda that has come our way. All right, I'm just going to simply say this. Are we any better than we were almost 2 years ago? I think we are. From a treating in the hospital side, I think they know a little bit more there, but from a prevention side and certainly from a health side, we are no better, right? So that's why we are not going to focus on the surroundings, right? We're not going to be concerned ourselves with the environment around us, but concerned with the individual and strengthening yourself. So this is the thing, this is the biggest issue right now that I'm hearing from almost everyone, including nurses. There's like, people just don't trust what's coming down the pipeline anymore. So when the CDC makes some new policy or soon announcement, guys, I'm going to tell you flat out, I've heard people who vaccinated, unvaccinated, people who love masks and who just want to burn them, they all have trust issues with it right now. And the sad thing is, and this is what's being censored right now, which is really just guys, I'm just going to call it like flat out, that is criminal. Like to take away your freedom of speech just because you disagree with the current policy. Guys, that is not scientific. Science is all about testing and retesting and testing again. And when you get a test that shows that it's negative, that gives you information and you act on it. You never ever say, this is the answer, don't question me ever again. That is the most unscientific thing you can say. But guys, I want to tell you flat out, like, people have a huge trust issue right now. They don't trust the government, they don't trust the CDC. And so we've got to get back to, I can't control the environment, but I can control where we're at. Guys, just to hit the nail in the head and leave it alone, Guys, the CDC started very innocently, and it was actually designed to combat malaria. Their tools were actually trucks and shovels. The trucks would spray for mosquitoes, and the shovels would go out and dig up these mosquitoes. I mean, that was the CDC. It evolved and changed over the years, and in 1983, this is where it all started going wrong. They allowed acceptance of gifts and financial backing from private companies and corporations. So basically it became a, whatever you need us to do, give us some money and we'll do it for you. And that's why we see more agenda leading science as opposed to science in its pure form now. And it's just sad to see. But guys, I'm gonna leave it flat out. Right now, if the CDC, what they said worked, if it really, really worked, we would not still be in this pandemic. We would not still see the numbers that we're seeing right now. And then the question I ask, especially for some of the bullying policies that have been coming out recently, my question is, why can't you reproduce the data? You did a study, but why can no one else reproduce it? Why is my area not, why am I seeing people who are getting COVID are vaccinated and unvaccinated in about the same numbers? Whatever the percentage of vaccination rate is, that's what we're seeing infection rate. That's what I'm seeing in my area, guys. And I asked the question, I'm not here to say I know all, I'm just saying I'm not seeing the 99% of people that are getting COVID right now are unvaccinated. I don't see it. In fact, the majority of my patients who call in and say, I can't come in because I tested positive, are vaccinated. But guys, my point is this, I'm not here to tell you what to get the vaccine or not. That's not my interest. My job, my mission is to keep healthy people healthy, right? If you get sick and you can't breathe and you need emergency care, for heaven's sakes, that's what the hospitals are for, right? But my job as a chiropractor is to keep you responsibly out of the hospital. If I can keep you out of crisis, that's my job, right? So once again, back to here, I can't change the environment. I can't control what the CDC is gonna say next week or tomorrow or next year. I can't control who's gonna be elected. What I can control is how can I impact you to be healthier, right? How can we get healthier together? So it really comes down to this, and this is once again, State of the Union. We are not healthy to begin with. If you guys remember, back at the start of COVID, and the stat has continued on through, what it said is the people who have unfortunately died from COVID, they had on average anywhere between 2 to 3 comorbidities, meaning they had heart disease, they already had cancer, they had some other type of sickness, and not just one, but as many as 3 of them. And that's what's on average. So that means there are some people that had 4, 5, and 6, right? So I want to hear you for a second. In layman's terms, sick people getting sick do not end well, all right? Now, we all know someone who's pretty healthy and they still got this thing. So once again, if you can explain to me how a family of 5, 3 people get the flu and 2 don't, but yet all were exposed, we're gonna talk about that later tonight, right? But the point is, this is a big one, is we have to speak into victory stats. We have to start measuring what is working, what earns us victories. And so the sad thing is the 2 things that we've been measuring this whole time are infection numbers and death numbers, both of which are losing stats, right? I mean, guys, I think we need to be aware of that. But do you guys know that this thing has a 99.75% recovery rate? And the sad thing is that's actually an estimate, according to the experts, because we don't measure recovery rate. We don't actually measure the winning stat. But this is what the experts have said. They're like, you know what? This is actually a 99.75% recovery rate. I'm just gonna say flat out, man, that's pretty good. Right? But the reality is, we in America, they ranked 11 countries, 11 the most financially developed countries, and we rank, of course, in health last. Yet the crazy thing is, hear me for a second, we spend the most. We spend the most money, but we rank last place. I would call that a bad investment. We have to change this stuff. Guys, the reality is we need to think about when we entered this pandemic, things hit the fan, not just the virus. I mean, to be honest, it felt like the Titanic. It was just women and children first and screw everyone else. So who is the everyone else? Well, guys, I'm gonna just call it like it is. Education. Guys, I mean, our kids, their education has been disrupted for 2 years now. And I just feel like they were an afterthought, and they still are. I just feel like it's still in shambles, which is horrible. Guys, mental health went through the roof. I mean, guys, depression, anxiety, isolation, and fear is a brutal combination, and we saw those numbers skyrocket. You guys probably know people like I do that just, man, this thing hit them hard. And guys, I also want to talk about there's other collateral damage. There's people that were on, addicts who were on rehab programs, and that was reset. And I mean, people who are alcoholics and have been alcohol for years. Guys, in the Midwest, the alcohol consumption went up by over 50% during that pandemic. I mean, the first stage of the pandemic. And so when we got microscope vision on this virus, this one virus, we lost so much other stuff around us. And I'm speaking to that, and I'm not casting blame, guys. That's not my point. My point is, like, please seek these people out and love on them. Once again, isolation and fear are a deadly combination that reset a lot of this stuff right here. And then, guys, and there's business owners out there, there's people who've lost jobs. I mean, like, there's things that have just not gone back. And so my heart goes out to them, guys, but like, just keep in mind that in battling this virus, which we haven't even won, or even showing signs of winning, you know, as a public health policy, like, we've really certainly screwed up a lot more. And so this is where, at what cost did we earn what we've earned, right? And so that's why, once again, why I love, you know, Dr. Lopato down there in Florida is like, he's saying like we got to live with this. We've got to get over this fear thing and start getting into the science thing. And that's what I want to speak into today, because the first thing we want to talk about today is this biopsychology. This literally is talking about how your thoughts are affecting not just your emotions, but your emotions are then in turn affecting bodily systems, which includes your immune system. They talked about, scientists are finding more evidence that they're showing that your emotions, your mindset, impact your immune system. And that's what they found. One study conducted by Pennsylvania State University, they found that negative emotions to lower your immune response functions. And this is where it also, in kicker, not only did it decrease your immune system, your immune response, but it increased inflammation, which what I want you to hear from that is it made you more susceptible to other diseases, right? So it's not just decreasing immune response, but it's also increasing the harmful inflammation that is allowing more sickness to happen. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, because the history, you gotta know the history. Why are we so overly focused on germs today? If you guys notice that, I mean, like, everyone knows what Lysol is, right? Like Lysol, and you can probably tell me how much of it kills. Like, what percent does Lysol kill on a surface? And everyone's like 99.9. I mean, everyone knows that stuff, but no one knows that you're supposed to let it sit wet for 4 minutes. Like, no one actually reads the directions. They just know what the number is on the front, right? But the point is, this is our different paradigms. Keep in mind, our paradigm tonight is we're focused on not changing the environment to suit us. We're talking about how to strengthen us so that we can conquer any environment, right? So this is where, once again, the germ theory of disease, most of you have heard about this. Louis Pasteur went back, I mean, once again, we're going back in time a little bit. He made huge impacts. I mean, there are benefits to this thing, right? But the basics of the germ theory of disease is that this is where germs infect the host and are responsible for most diseases, right? So that was revolutionary at the time. Now, what most people don't realize is that this is still called a theory. like we treat it like the law of gravity, but it's still the germ theory of disease, because the germ theory can still not explain, like I said, let's use the flu so we can avoid the COVID, you know, elephant in the room, but the flu can hit a family, right? And 2 or 3 of a family of 5 will get it, yet all were exposed. How come? The germ theory can't explain that, right? And this is where, once again, I have known families who the mom gets COVID, everyone's living together, everyone's exposed, but only mom gets sick, all right? But this is where, once again, it's like we don't intentionally want to do this, but we're seeing it happen. So the other guy that people don't often know of is this guy named Antoine Béchamp. I'm not French, I'm sorry, but he was a French scientist, guy. So the cool thing is he was considered a rival to Pasteur, right? These guys, they're pitted as enemies. But guys, I'm gonna tell you, they're the same sword, just one side cuts this way and one side cuts this way. Because if you notice that the terrain theory is also called a theory, because the terrain theory basically says, as the picture shows, what is the strength of the host? What is the organism's strengths? Are they fueling their body with good stuff? Did that virus reach a threshold to actually trigger a disease? Basically, it's just saying, like, look, just because you're exposed to a virus does not equal disease. That's what Béchamp was saying. He said, how much of the virus you're exposed to, that's number one. He said, number two, how strong the virus impacts your immune system, because some viruses are stronger than others, right? And the overall strength of your immune system. That's the one I want to talk to tonight. The overall strength of your immune system, because that's why we're seeing the changes and we're seeing the differences here. So this is where, once again, we gotta focus on not the virus, but focus on the host. Focus on you, focus on the human being, right? This is where you might not realize it, but your body is constantly engaged in battles against harmful pathogens. Guys, there's a reason why we have all the complexities of our body. Everyone jumps right to white blood cells. Guys, if your first line of defense is white blood cells, you're in trouble. Believe it or not, most people don't realize this, but your first line of defense is actually your skin. It is the physical barrier. It is the saliva. It is the things that prevent them from getting inside of you. And then it just starts working on back through the layers. And so this is where, once again, the immune system consists of individual specialized defense cells, proteins, the entire organs and organ systems designed to keep you alive. So the thing I love about this is the terrain theory, as the picture shows with the goldfish, right? Why does he jump into the cleaner water? His buddy's got it living good over there. Whereas, come on, who's going to pick the goldfish? I've done this demonstration before. I want to be very clear here to all my fish-loving friends. I did not pour the Coca-Cola in the fish tank, right? But I showed two tanks of goldfish, just to demonstrate this. And people, I just put this little fishbowl out there, and they just met Max the goldfish for the first time ever. And people loved him. They thought he was cute and everything. I just talked to him and I said, look, hey, Max is pretty good. Let's go ahead and reward Max by let's go ahead and give him what we give our kids. Let's give him a Coca-Cola. And I mean, you know that sound, like when you twist the bottle, like it makes that all the carbonation, just comes out, right? So I do that, and you want to bet, these people, I have 100 people in a room, they were coming out of their seats because they thought I was going to pour Coca-Cola on this $1.79 goldfish that they just met, and they're up in arms because I'm going to pour this Coca-Cola into this tank with the fish. And guys, I gotta laugh because I'm like, wait, time out. You don't fight for your kids this hard, but this goldfish that just met this night didn't even cost me $2. You guys are going nuts over it, right? And they got the point, right? You guys get the point. Obviously we know goldfish need clean water. It's a very simple analogy. We know that Coca-Cola, when you pour it into a fish tank, is not gonna help the fish. It's gonna kill the fish, right? So what kills goldfish quickly kills you slowly. We're going to walk you through some of that tonight. But once again, focus on the host. And this is where we got to get into the natural immune response. So this is where I'm going to get heavy just for a second, but I promise you I'm going to back up and keep it simple. I just want you to know that we are wonderfully made. Every second of every day, we have millions, if not billions, of attempts every single minute coming against us, trying to invade us, trying to defeat our bodily systems. And here's the cool part. We don't even think about it. We don't think about any of that. It's just already happening. That is your body's innate immune defense. And this is the cool thing. It works like this. When your body detects something that's not you, that could be pollen, that could be dander, that could be E. coli, that could be, heaven forbid, coronavirus, which is a common cold, by the way, not COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2. But the point is, anything it meets, it's going to recognize and start mounting a defense immediately. Now, just like an invader in your home, they might get a little far, they might break down a door or a window, but eventually you're going to get them. Right? So this is where, once again, your body is going to do the same way. They might make a way into the body a little bit. They might even give you symptomatic sickness, but your body's going to overcome it. And that's what's so cool to report, and that's what's so cool to celebrate, is the COVID recovery rate, 99.75%. But look at the things. Guys, have you ever been worried about a common cold? Or does anyone truly worry about the flu? I'm talking about worry, fearful worry. You kind of say, oh, it's flu season, and you do your things, right? Take a little extra vitamin C, vitamin D, etc. But my point is this, is we are not, in a culture in America, focused on the host. We are not focused on, how do I fuel my body? Do I make sure I get extra sleep right now? Do I make sure I take care of it? Do I make sure I take care of my mindset? Because I'm going to be flat out honest right here. When we talk about take care of the host, focus on the host, we talked about mindset, those negative emotions. One thing I forgot to mention, some of you guys need to unplug your TVs. Some of you guys got to get off the news. All right, I'm going to take one step further. You guys may not like me for saying this. You need to get off social media. How many of you guys, your blood pressure goes up the moment you get on Facebook, right? Because you're not looking for stuff that's fueling you for positive. You're looking for stuff that's inflaming you, right? Guys, I don't want to encourage you to do this, but I caught myself, there would be these articles that would pop on my iPhone when you swipe all the way to the left. They pick 3 or 4 articles that are for you, I guess. And I've realized they're inflammatory stuff. There's nothing positive there. So now I have a rule on my phone. I don't go to that. I don't go to that page, that news section. I get away from it. It is not beneficial for me. It doesn't build health in my body, so I'm gonna move away from it, right? But I'm gonna challenge you guys. This is a writer downer. Some of you guys, you have those notes right there. If you're that person that is glued to the news and glued to the hype, and man, you're just an adrenaline junkie, guys, I'm telling you, that stuff is wearing on you, okay? And what goes in here is gonna come out here eventually, and that's the sad news right now, is like we have so much discrimination and bullying happening. I never thought I'd see the day, guys. I mean, they spent so much time teaching us not to bully in grade school. Just to see it happen at an institutional level right now is appalling. And so this is where I'm not kidding, guys. Remove it, see humanity for what they are, love on them, and watch. I mean, guys, it's just like, it's so great. Like I'm telling you, it's so much better on this side of it. And the cool thing is the science says your immune system is better for it, right? So know that your immune system is working. This is the complicated bit, I promise is coming. But I have so much fun. Watch it just for a second. On the left, this is outside the cell stuff. On the right, this is inside the cell stuff, which by the way is viruses, okay? You guys understand that virus is not a living thing. Viruses, they don't have an immune system. They are actually a non-living entity. They're usually a collection of just simple proteins or membranes that are designed to do one thing, make more of them, right? So they can't make any outside the cell because that's not how they operate. They're not living. They require another living thing to exist. And so they have to infect you. They have to inject their material into a cell, infect it. So we actually have to have two sides of the immune system. One side, and once again, keep in mind, you don't think about this. You don't have to know about any of this. It happens whether you're aware of it or not. This side is basically for bacteria, parasites, fungi, outside the cell stuff, and it's trained very well how to kill it. And the cool thing is after it kills it, it's going to remember it with these memory cells, right? And then the other cool thing is here we got the T cells over here. They're designed to basically target cells that have been infected. So this is like a spy in the camp. They're trained on eliminating spies, and then to kill it, they actually puncture the cell full of holes so that it deflates like a beach ball. I mean, it just goes down like this. And the crazy thing is, it'll find the material that had the spies that had infected it, the viruses that had infected it, the cancer, by the way, the cancer is the same way, all right? And then once again, it's gonna create memory cells so it remembers how to defeat this next time. Guys, it doesn't mean that you won't get sick ever again from this thing. What it means is your body, when it sees it the next time, it already has the blueprints on how to defeat it. So instead of wasting a day or two moving all that material up to a lymph node and then manufacturing more B cells and white blood cells, it has these little antibodies that now know, I know you, I've got you, like you're on the milk cartons, you're like you know me at the post office, we got your picture, we know you, I can get you on a quick little speed dial and we're gonna have an immune response right away. I mean, the thing I want you to impress yourself with is that you don't even have to be aware of this. It happens whether you're aware of it or not. It's always happening. It's whether you're asleep, whether you're awake, whether you're traveling. I mean, this is always happening, right? And we talk about in chiropractic the power that makes the body heals the body, right? Like, why am I trying to focus on keeping people healthy by changing their lifestyle and keeping them healthy from the inside out? Is because that power within you is greater than that out of you, right? This is where it's so cool to see that, like, we've been around for millennia as human beings, and the cool thing is this has been going the entire time, and that's what I think is so cool, right? So moving on here, just once again, your innate immune system, this is where I'm just gonna list some barriers here. Like, people skip over the basic beginning stuff, but your skin, your mucosal membranes, your mucus and chemical secretions, I know it sounds gross, but even sweat is actually a defense layer. And this digestive enzymes in the mouth and the stomach. I mean, guys, keep in mind that a lot of viruses and viruses, like our viruses and bacteria and things, they don't like acid. I mean, you think Lysol's good at killing stuff. watch what your stomach and your enzymes in your mouth do. I mean, it's amazing. Now, please hear me. I am not endorsing you to stick things in your mouth, just sanitize them. I saw some of you. You guys are like, no. It's like, do not pull the toddler thing and pick everything in your mouth. That's not what I'm saying, right? But you guys get the drill. It's like, we have defenses there already, because I don't care how perfect you think that steak you just grilled has 0 bacteria on it. It does, right? It has things on it. Things are always in the air. It's always moving. But your body can handle a little bit. I mean, come on, like, this is where we don't want to be, not enough said, right? But this is where, once again, internal defenses, right? So that's all external stuff. Internal defenses. This is going to sound a little crazy, but inflammation, your inflammatory response it's the swelling, the heat, the redness. So like if you get a cut on your hand, it's like, wow, it raises up a little bit, it's swollen a little bit, it's a little warm to the touch, it's red, you'll notice it, and it's not from the blood, it's the skin is like literally turning colors. Guys, 3 things are happening all at once. You had an exposure, so we got to send the troops in, we got to send the white blood cells and the interleukins in, right? The inflammatory markers are designed to pull the white blood cells in, and then we have damage, so we need the construction crews to come in. And there's 2 parts of those. There's the builders, and then there's the tear downers. Okay, these are all very scientific terms, by the way, right? But come on, guys. The guy. There needs to be deconstruction first. Like we have damage that occurred. We need to recycle that stuff. So we have 3 entities that all come in all at once. Guys, it's just like construction at your local interstate. I'm just telling you. Right? I mean, it gets worse before it gets better, right? But this is where, once again, just like traffic slows down during that, guess what? Your skin swells up and slows down, and it looks bad at first. But guys, the cool thing is you're not thinking about it. It's automatically healing. It's pretty cool to happen and watch. But that's happening all the time. But your internal defenses, right? Inflammatory response, complement proteins, which are your like killer proteins that deflate the cells like a beach ball. Phagocytic cells, those basically think of hungry hippos. That's what those cells do. They eat things, right? And natural killer cells, which I love these scientists, by the way, that call things for what they do. Like, what does a natural killer cell do? It naturally kills things. It's amazing, right? So like, once again, please, if you ever discover something, name it appropriately, right? But come on, this is all happening without you realizing it, right? So this is where, once again, I want to talk about this for a second, because we talk about the innate immune system. You talk about, man, how did we get this thing? Well, adaptive immune system. This is when we start talking about, all right, I was exposed to something, all right, and then I got to get over it. And there's actually 2 types. There's active and passive. So, I just had a baby at the end of July, right? And so most of you guys know our story. But the cool thing is we highly recommend breastfeeding, because breast milk, guys, is not just the best nutrients for the baby, but specifically, if you guys haven't Googled this, do it. I actually shared this with my usher team one morning just to show them the power of God's creation, is Google the picture between breast milk with mom with the cold and mom without, and you're going to see the color changes, because this is how cool things are happening. Like, this is passive immunity once again. Like, you're getting passive immunity. That baby's getting passive immunity from the breast milk. All right, but that's antibodies that mom made. Baby didn't make that. Baby didn't experience that. Baby didn't go through that, but there's still passive immunity, right? This can also be done artificially, where you're given manufactured antibodies, meaning that, like, hey, you didn't make them, but we engineered them over here or collected them over here, and we're now injecting them into you. So you'll notice that there's always a natural and an artificial thing. Now, that's passive. Let's get into active immunity. Active is where we have all of a sudden, there's a difference between, hey, I got measles or mumps like my grandparents did, or like there's people who were vaccinated artificially. Once again, active immunity. We're trying to generate an immune response in you, okay? So now, I was always taught, and I'm not here to be an anti-vaxxer, guys. I'm just being very clear here. I will fight for your choice to not get a vaccine. I will fight for your choice to get a vaccine. I stand for health freedom, period. All right? Now, but what I want to tell you guys is, and I'm stealing this from Dr. Ladapo down in Florida, but this is where, or Lapato, sorry, I'm changing his name as I go. Dr. Lapato down in Florida, he called this out. He said, why are they afraid of destroying the idea of vaccinations? Meaning, he was suggesting that they were afraid to seek COVID treatments, better COVID treatments, because it might discourage people from getting vaccinations. This is his words, not mine. He said, why are we treating this like a religion? That's senseless. That's what he said, right? So instead, I just want to challenge you guys just for a second. Like, we always learn through all the pre-med, everything else, that active, natural immunity, meaning you got measles, is always better from an immune shield than artificial. That's what we learned, okay? All of a sudden that changed these last 2 years, but once again, I fail to see where the studies have changed. But my point is this: let's take polio, for example. I don't think a lot of us want to experience, had to fight off polio and take the risk of being that small percentage that gets paralysis in the limbs. Like there are times that you could consider it. Does that make sense? So it's always a choice, and that's what's informed consent, guys. This is what I really, really strive to fight for, And the sad thing is we don't have any federally mandated informed consent for vaccines right now. And the crazy thing is, if something were to happen to you, you can't even like take damages out against the manufacturer because they have immunity against it. And it just leads to very, very unsafe practices. And this is what I want to caution you guys. So I always lead for informed consent. I want you guys to always ask questions, know what you're putting in your body. All right, that's my first and foremost. And hey, if you thought about it and you read on it and you made a decision, that is your decision. Own it. Do you know what I mean? Like don't peer pressure. Like learn why you do what you do and do it. Okay, that's all I ask. Because I'm gonna speak to like everyone here for a second. Some people are very, very vocal on both sides of this, and I'm gonna stop making it sides. Start saying this. Lead with fact. Lead with just pure science. Here's the data, and you're smart enough. Figure it out for yourself. All right, so I'm gonna challenge you guys, do not bully anyone for choosing differently than you, okay, period, the end. Love on them instead, all right? That's what I want you guys to start doing now. Stop attacking people because they think differently or speak differently than you, right? I mean, come on, I still can't believe we're dealing with that stuff. Get rid of it, but this is where also, know what you're putting in your body. Make a wise, informed decision, all right? And that's all I'm gonna say about that. But guys, the point is, adaptive immunity means that your immune system is always seeking to adapt to its environment around you. So why are we focusing on the host? It's because it has the power to recognize, identify, and destroy the stuff, all right? So that's what I want to come alive in you, right? So once again, we talked about the terrain theory. I want to jump a couple boxes here. So we're kind of going back to Bachamp's terrain theory here. Anyone know Lake Erie, like what happened there? Like, does anyone know? Like, it's also happened in Gulf of Mexico. We're seeing it in parts of Africa. We're seeing it on the east coast of the United States. We're having these things called algal blooms, the red tide or cyanobacteria in this case in Lake Erie. But the reality is, because of our human involvement in the environment, namely we are pouring phosphorus and basically all these fertilizers from our crop runoff, from our yards, all things like, come on, if you guys seen Finding Nemo, right? All drains lead where? To the ocean, right? Or a Great Lake, right? So in this case, so as we dumped all this stuff in there, all of a sudden it hit Lake Erie. And what you see on the right is this giant algal bloom, okay, algae. The reality though is the algae creates what's called a dead zone. And it takes all the nutrients in the area and destroys it. And the sad thing is, the fish, right? I mean, they're either sick or dead because they can't even get oxygen from the area, the surrounding environment. They can't even get food from their environment because it's all dead. It creates literally a dead zone in the ocean or the Great Lake in this area. And this is where, once again, the kicker is, the cause of the problem is not a natural phenomenon. It is a man-made phenomenon, meaning that we screwed up the environment. We created the sick individuals, right? I want to be very clear here too, to just be blunt. In America, like 95% of chronic disease, it's your choice, your lifestyle choice, right? Like, you did it. You chose to eat those Doritos. You chose to eat the boxed food instead of the real food from the tree or from the ground. Like, I'm gonna tell you guys, start looking at food as food by God or food by man. All right. If that doesn't work for you, then food by Mother Nature or food by my man, or just like, the point is, like, guys, there's a reason why the natural stuff works. Okay. And please do not be that person that believes that all natural means all natural, right? So, like, come with us on a grocery store tour. We'll help teach you in a grocery store how to shop healthier, right? But guys, I want to just draw attention to this Align Your Health book. We've given this to most of our patients here, but this is where we have a chapter in there specifically on nutrition and on how to shop healthier and how to do this stuff, right? I'm here to equip you to first have knowledge, but then to put that knowledge into action and choose better options here. Because once again, Dr. Bachamp, like, the terrain theory says, look, if your terrain looks like this and you've got a dead zone here, well, guess what happened to your immune system as well? Tanks it, guys, right? So once again, what do we believe? We believe that the power that makes the body heal the body, right? Hear me for a second. The body is self-healing and self-regulating, right? You cut your hand or your finger, you don't stare at it and have to mentally focus, like, heal. Just oh, Jesus, help me heal. Right? Like, you don't do that. Like many of you guys lick it and then, like, you're like, there, I cleaned it, right? Magic spit, right? And then you go on and you're like, and then, like, I'll be darned, there's a scab there later and the scab falls off and new skin's there. You're like, whoa, look at that. Like, I'm pretty good, right? Like, you're like, I look at that, I just did that. Like, come on, guys, like that's amazing, right? That's alive within you, and your body genetically didn't know you're gonna get cut there, but it knew how to heal, right? Your body is also designed intelligently to adapt to the environment, right? The easiest thing that comes to my mind is like people that live in very, very high altitudes. Wow, guess what happens to their blood content? It's really, really good at grabbing oxygen. In fact, you create more hemoglobin for that, right? You come down to coast level, not as dense there. That's an unnecessary adaptation. So your body's always looking to change and evolve there, right? The power that made the body heals the body, right? I tell people after every adjustment, your power is on. And most people have no idea what I'm talking about. they think I turned a light switch on or something. And guys, I don't want to engage in the philosophical answer to this every single time, but it is so fun to say, hey, the power that made you and heals you, like that's the system we're working with. You came in thinking I'm just popping bones, right? Popping joints, right? But the reality is the only reason I'm working on the spine is to unlock the nervous system potential within you, right? And the body needs no help, just no interference. Guys, keep in mind that one of the biggest interferences today, as we mentioned earlier, is mental. It's the thoughts that get us, guys. This is what decreases our immune system and actually opens the door for disease. People always assume the spine gets messed up and your nervous system gets interference because we went through a car accident or a fall or a tumble, the physical stuff. But guys, I'm gonna tell you that the mental and the chemical stuff is by far more numerous and attacking than the physical stuff. And so guys, be conscious of that. Like your words matter. Once again, your thoughts matter. And so be working with that. All right. So once again, just the Max Living approach is utilizing these 5 essentials. Tonight, we're just really focusing on the chiropractic care, the nutrition, and the mindset. A little bit of exercise, but we're going to leave a lot of it alone. Okay. So keep in mind that, like, once again, I already covered this, but viruses are not alive. So once again, your built-in lines of defenses here. This is where, once again, the body has 3 primary lines of defense to fight against foreign invaders, right? So the first line of defense, as we talked about, is your body's physical barriers, all right? The second is where it encounters the pathogens, and this is where, once again, it successfully passes the physical barrier, so that now the pathogen is beyond the physical barrier, but the second line of defense is where it's the cells and proteins that attack the invader. So once again, this is the you probably heard of monocytes or plasma cells that are like kind of floating around and they're just looking to gobble up stuff like hungry hippos. All right, but this is where, once again, the second line of defense oftentimes is enough to beat it, right? This is the example of the person who gets exposed to the flu or the common cold or, heaven forbid, SARS-CoV-2, right? And wow, I didn't get it. They got it. They didn't get it, right? Like, I can't explain it. I was exposed. I was contact traced, right? Like, come on, my parents. You guys know you got to take enough days off of work from that, right? But my point is, it's sometimes enough. Like, your body sometimes catches it on the second line of defense. And then the third line of defense is where it consists of cells specially created to rid the body of these specific microorganisms. This is your adaptive immune system. This is what I'm talking about when you take the hit and you're saying, all right, you might have gotten that first punch on me. You may have beat me there, but I'm going to make sure I win the second round. Okay, so that's where your body says, right? The fool me once, right? Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like, that's what your body goes through right there. But those are the 3 lines of defenses. So once again, never underestimate the body's natural healing power, the ability to heal itself. That's what's so cool. That's what I love about chiropractic, is because there's nothing magical about my hands. I literally move the bone. God's design does the healing. I tell that to all my patients. It's so fun. Like, I mean, guys, I tell people, and like, some of you guys come alive because they're like, oh my gosh, he just mentioned God and his workplace. Like, this is great. Like, I mean, guys, I love this stuff. I share my faith pretty openly. But guys, I love each and every one of you, and I want the best for you, right? And I know that if we get things aligned here, that only better will come out here, right? Like, there's no way the heart can work if there's blockage going to the heart via the nerve, right? And we'll talk about that later, but when you remove what interferes the process of that body, that healing potential within you, it's amazing to watch what happens, right? So I'm gonna cut through some of this stuff. If you guys didn't get to our gut health workshop, we talk a lot about this, but guys, I wanna tell you flat out, we're gonna talk about nutrition very briefly here, but it's very simple. Guys, your gut health, this is where, once again, over 70% of the immune system is tied to the gut, meaning you make chemical messengers in the gut that are there to signal the immune system and talk back and forth between the gut and the brain. And this is where America has such a huge problem, because your gut doesn't have nerve cells like your fingers do. It can't tell if it's hot or cold. It can't tell if it's smooth or rough. all it can tell is stretching, right? Or it hurts. That's all it can signal to you, right? So when it sees this stuff, like if we got to see the state of our intestinal lining, I think some of us would I think we'd puke, number one, but I think a lot of us would be shocked. We are such visually driven people that if we don't see it, it doesn't exist, right? But a lot of the gut health needs some work. And this is where, once again, it's time to not just change out your pantry and your refrigerator, but it's time to change out your supplement cabinet and start getting better. Guys, if you're taking cheapy supplements like the Centrums, the Equates, the Walmart brand, like you get what you pay for, and there's a reason it's not working. So once again, I've seen a lot of people, this is pretty fun here, like they'll start adding just probiotics, quality probiotics to their food to help heal that gut, and it's cool to see what happens. I mean, it's just neat on that end, right? But guys, take care of the inside of you, take care of the gut. Once again, this is where, the detrimental effects of antibiotics, I want to be very clear here. Time and a place, right? Thank God we have antibiotics for certain situations, but guys, we are overutilizing them. The American Academy of Pediatrics even acknowledges this, like saying like we are using antibiotics for the first sniffle, and it's like, that is not okay. It's not appropriate. So guys, just be aware that antibiotics nuke the entire body, like including the gut health, and you kill a lot of those good bacteria, those probiotics, right? Like they're designed to be there. So this is why when we talk about, like when we get your kids in here and they have got like scratchy throat or ear infection or something like that, like the silver spray, it's very local, right? Or oil of oregano for those that just want to feel the burn, right? For the throat stuff, it's like, I mean, I love it, right? But I want to it's not oil of oregano that heals you. I'm gonna get adjusted, I'm gonna do oil of oregano, I'm gonna take extra vitamin C, vitamin D, and we'll go through that, right? But this is the biggest thing I wanna tell you guys, right? In addition to know that the antibiotics, we don't wanna take those like candy, okay? We're done with that one, right? This is the bigger problem, right? Sugar and the immune system. I'm just gonna, you guys don't need me to tell you that sugar is bad for you. You guys don't need to know that. What you need to see is this picture, right? The picture on the left, this is someone that has high blood sugar in that picture, and it's called glycation. And this is where the red blood cells literally become sticky because sugar is sticky to the blood cells on that end. And do you see how they clump together like that? When they're stuck like that, that does not look like the picture on the right, which is actually healthy blood cells looking like. Those are blood cells designed to carry oxygen to the tissue. Those are blood cells who can help move out of the way so the white blood cells can get in there and attack those organisms, right? The one on the left though, I mean, that's like, come on the way to the office today, there was not one but 2 accidents, and holy cow, it took me 3 times as long because I was stuck in traffic. That's what that picture looks like to me. I mean, there's just more cars, and of course the exit I need to get off at, everyone's bailing to get off of the interstate so they don't have to sit in traffic anymore, so that gets even worse. That's what sugar does to your blood system. Guys, look at it for a second. I mean, this is when your sugar level goes high, you become less competent with your immune system. That's what I want you to see there, okay? Right? Glycation, I already told you about that. Okay, so once again, when sugar is in your system, gets red blood cells sticky, and that's what it looks like. Some of you guys need to take a picture right now, like let's just screenshot that, right? Because it's like, I want you to view that, so next time you're in Starbucks or Panera and you see that bear claw or whatever that is, whatever that thing is to you, that's what's happening, right? So change your mind. Picture's worth 1,000 words, right? And once again, this is what we've seen. Obesity impacts your immunity, the weight gain, this is why, we talk about this a lot. Like, I want you slimmer, not because you look better, but also because you feel better and your immune system's better, you function better, right? Evidence suggests that obesity impairs immunity, leading to an increased risk of bacterial and viral infections due to fewer white blood cells, which is crazy, right? But this is where, once again, we've got to combat some of this stuff. I'm going to kind of skip through some of this stuff because of time, but also because I want to, you guys get into chapter 4, get into your Line Your Health book, like work with us, ask us what your health goals are. Like one of my patients specifically asked like this specific type of food. It was Doritos. He was like, he goes, man, what do you got for Doritos? And I gave him a kind of a step down plan. I said, you know what, my first goal for you, since they seem to be a definite staple for you, I said, just buy a cleaner brand. Like go to Trader Joe's and find the Dorito equivalent. And then what I want you to do is start introducing blue corn tortilla chips and start, it doesn't have to be I will never eat pizza ever again. Like, good luck with that. It's just, but I want you guys to replace it with something beneficial, okay? But once again, building up your defenses is more food by God than food by man, okay? And so once again, the truth about fat, you guys know this stuff, but this is where it's kind of crazy. They haven't done this study again in a while because I think they're embarrassed, but it was the last time they did this was 2000. They look at the one study found the average American ate nearly 75 pounds of added fats and oils in 1 year. 75 pounds, that's like half of some of you, right? I mean, that's insane. Like, but this is where, once again, nearly 19% of our daily calorie consumption comes from saturated and trans fats. Yikes. I mean, I think we all know trans fat are bad, but I don't think we know its other names. I don't think many of us are spinning the label around and reading hydrogenated oils. Oh, that's a trans fat. Or its cousin, partially hydrogenated oils, right? It's not fully hydrogenated, so it must be okay. It's all trans fats, guys, like put it back. All right, so once again, just keep that in mind. Healthy fats, quality proteins. This is where, once again, where you are what they ate, not what you eat, right? Like, come on. Like, this is a fishery, by the way. This is the difference between wild caught salmon and farm raised salmon. Like, it's right here in this picture. Like, they're pooping on each other. Like, come on, all comes back to poop for a second. Like, who wants fish that have pooped all over each other their entire lives? Like, get out of here, right? Like, I want the fish that's had to swim after its food. Its color looks different. When you go in a grocery store with us, you'll see. We always compare the two, and you'll see the difference. They actually have to put a food coloring additive to get the color to come out orangish, like the salmon color, right? Because they don't do anything their whole lives except swim in very, very small circles, it looks more gray. And who wants gray salmon? Not this guy. So they have to add coloring to get it to change, right? 2 plans, it's real simple. Core plan, this is someone who's met their health goals, wants to maintain and just simply have good quality nutrients, all right? And once again, it's detailed in the Align Your Health book, but this is where it's like, it's a lot of healthy fats, quality meats. It's the same in both, quality meats. You can add carbs, but they're very specific carbs, very, very beneficial carbs there. Advanced plan, this is what most of you probably need to try out, and this is where I'm also gonna say plan it effectively. Do a 30-day challenge of this, right? But it's anything that turns into sugar, that's what we wanna eliminate, okay? So this is where, once again, while like, you know, banana is a food by God, it is also gonna spike your blood sugar when you eat it. So, not on the advanced plan, right? Apples, most apples with the exception of one, Granny Smith apples. You'll learn to love Granny Smith apples. They're very tart for a reason, because they don't spike your blood sugar. But this is where, once again, the quality thing here is, and a lot of people go, oh, it's Atkins. No, it's not Atkins, because we care about quality, and we actually still want those high quality, good fats for you, okay? That's the benefit. But once again, detailed in your Align Your Health book, dig in there. And then the cool thing, guys, is that some of you guys, I don't know if some of you guys know this, but like, especially with the holidays around the corner, we have recipes in the back here. And I'm not gonna be one of those people that says all of them are great, because some of them are so. Most of them, though, are fantastic. And this is where, once again, you've got these options back here. Like, holidays are coming up. We actually took to Thanksgiving one year garlic mashed potatoes. It was actually cauliflower that we steamed, and we added garlic and butter and some little Parmesan cheese. And the fun thing is, people ate them up just like potatoes, and they could tell there was like, wow, these are really, really good. What did you do differently? Well, they're not potatoes, right? So the cool thing is like building health as opposed to just being starches, which are long chains of glucose, right? But once again, the point is, like, we learn to live healthier. We learn to have some fun with it. And then now, guess what? There's always 2 options. There's garlic mashed potatoes and there's regular mashed potatoes. And guess which one's gone first? The cauliflower ones. Like, I love it. I'm so proud of my family. All right, but this is where, once again, immune boosting nutrients. Like, once again, these are the things, you guys know this stuff. I mean, come on, like, if you guys haven't heard of vitamin D by now, the sunshine vitamin, I feel like you've been living under a rock, or you've been on lockdown, like in Britain or something like that. They've done it, like, I think 42 times. But this is where, once again, the hard thing, because we are now in October, you can go outside. I mean, guys, it was sunny today and yesterday, but the reality is, the atmosphere, the sunlight cannot penetrate enough of the atmosphere because of how north we are. You will not get enough vitamin D. You have to, hear me again. You have to supplement this, all right? Like, nothing, like, it's just, vitamin D is not just beneficial for immune health, it's bone health, breast health, gut health, and guys, I'm just telling you, a multi in vitamin D goes a long way, okay? Vitamin C, enough said, but what is the number one thing that people screw up with vitamin C? They go, oh, I get my vitamin C by drinking orange juice, right? Like, it's not, I'm telling you guys, orange juice is so full of sugar. Remember the sticky blood picture? That's what you're doing. So the vitamin C you think you're getting, no, just wipe it away, because it's not helping anything. You're actually hurting your immune system there. Guys, get quality vitamin C, okay? But this is where, once again, by the way, most vitamin C is found in the white stuff on the orange, not the actual juice of the orange, just matter of fact there, right? So it's like, it's the pectin in it, all right? Zinc, once again, very, very powerful. Guys, they're doing zinc, there's some high quality zinc studies that have shown to reduce the duration of sickness by 1/3. by 33%. I just think that's cool. Like, once again, and by the way, like, before you go and buy each and every one of these, like, oh, I need to go get a bottle of vitamin D, or I need to get a bottle of vitamin C, and I need to get a bottle of zinc, and oh my goodness, I need to go grow an elderberry and echinacea plant just so I can get all this stuff. Guys, I'm gonna tell you flat out, that's why I take our men's multi. Right? So, and even better, that's actually why I'm gonna put these things up here for a reason. Like, we created these little boxes, and they have individual packets that have all this stuff in them. I travel quite a bit from conferences and some vacations, and I'm telling you guys, like, taking 4 or 5 supplement bottles, you could take another bathroom bag with that, just because it takes up so much real estate. So then you're left with, I have to organize it into little baggies or something like that. Guys, these are individual packets. So last time I was gone for 6 days. So I reached into this box, I grabbed, count them, 6 packets, put them in my bathroom bag. It just made life so much easier because I can take them all at once right with a meal and I'm done, right? I love this stuff. You save 10% on it. It's my team actually did the math in our office. You save $9 doing it this way. I'm telling you guys though, I like the $9 savings that gets some of you guys up excited. The me, it's the efficiency of it, and it saves me headspace and mental space of not having to track it down or remember to take all of them. But this is where, once again, if you want that stuff, get it. Some of you guys just talking about elderberry and echinacea though, like some of you guys have already discovered this. Echinacea is like a daisy plant, but once again, boosting the immune system. Guys, elderberry's been around forever. In fact, it's been around for a lot, especially for kids, to help treat their infections because of its high antioxidant ability in there, okay? But it's also in our IM support. So we have this like boost going on. And like, once again, I'm not here to, I don't want you to buy supplements and that's what you took away from tonight. I mean, if that legitimately is your next step because you're not taking the right supplements, then by all means, get the right supplements. But come on guys, like, you're gonna miss out if you don't cut out the sugar. I don't care what supplements you guys take, right? You're gonna kill your gut bacteria and you're not gonna absorb this stuff. All right, so it's a whole body approach here, guys, okay? Because this is the reality, is first, balance the nervous system. That's why we start every patient with exam and x-rays to see the power that makes the body, heals the body. How's your nervous system doing, okay? Right, I'm gonna skip over this stuff because this is where all I wanna say this, guys, is when they shut down gyms at the very start of this pandemic, big uh-oh. They show that when you do quality exercise and you do consistent exercise, you're getting, like, it's helping reduce your illness rate by over 40%. This is where, once again, it's boosting your immune fighting potential in there. And so just kind of go back here. It's like, once again, we talk about getting oxygen and exercise. I'm not talking about going on the little tricycle for a little bit and just like not even building a sweat. I'm talking about get your sweat up, get your heart rate up, get those oxygen into the tissues, right? Like, the cool thing is we go back to the terrain theory, right? With Antoine Béchamp, like Dr. Béchamp was actually driving oxygen into the tissues to help kill off the foreign invaders. Like, that's how early that was going on, right? Or you could exercise. So it's like, it's just kind of fun to see that stuff, right? But once again, it's not just doing it once in a while, it's doing it multiple times consistently every week. It doesn't have to be super long. It just needs to be something that gets your heart rate going. And personally, I would diversify it. Okay, we have our Max T3 for those that are interested, or just come ask us. We'll help you guys get there. But once again, this is why I'm gonna get down into it. Information versus action. Are you guys gonna put this stuff together? Are you guys gonna take that notepad in front of you and write down what needs to go together? Some of you guys need to just circle that. I want you to think of this, like, what are your next steps, okay? If you're circling everything, nutrition, I gotta do nutrition. Oh, I gotta do exercise, and supplements, I gotta do supplements on I need to shut off the news and Facebook and Instagram and all those other things. Guys, you're circling too many things, you won't do any of them. All right, so I want you to focus. What is the lowest hanging fruit for you, if that's you? If you have way too many things that like, oh my gosh, I have 14 million steps, stop and look at what's the easiest thing that you can do right now. Like, what's something that you can change right now? What can you add into your routine or remove from your routine? Like, one of the easiest one, guys, I'm gonna tell you flat out, is just getting off of Facebook, getting off of some of that social media stuff, getting off of the news like that. I think that's exceptionally easy, right? Like, who hears things on the news? People will tell you anyway. I'm gonna tell you flat out, like, I haven't watched the news in years, and I'm telling you, you'll find out stuff, right? Like, people will tell you, all right? So just anywho, put it all together and make some impact here, right? Write things down. If you've got too much sugar or things that turn into sugar in your diet right now, guys, you gotta remove it, okay? Get rid of it. Because this is where I begin with this with almost every patient in our office. You know, we sit you down, we talk about, like, yes, I know your spine's crooked, but more importantly, most people don't know their definition of health. I'm gonna break it down real simple because most people define health by how they feel, right? I helped teach one of my dad's health classes, and I was a guest speaker a few times. And I loved playing with the kids on this one because they love, how do you know you're healthy or sick? And they usually give you no response, right? And so then you say, well, fine, how do you know you're sick? And here come all the symptoms, right? Like I hurt, I have a fever, I have my bad numbers, whatever it may be. So then you go, okay, what's health mean? How do you know you're healthy? And they always, it's just how we're trained in school today, I guess, is they're like, well, if I feel bad and I'm sick, then if I feel good, I must be healthy. Then I'm like, okay, well, top 2 killers in the United States. I know it gets dark real quick, but let me just hang here for a second. The number 1 killer in the United States today has been for many decades, heart disease. And I get real here because this is where, like, I know people like who've been impacted by this, but it's like they felt fine the day before and the heart attack the next day, right? But yet their artery had 99% blockage going to the heart and they couldn't feel it, which boggles my mind. Like, how many people would love to know if they had 99% blockage of the artery going to the heart? And so this is where, you can see the jaws drop. They're just having that, like, oh my gosh, I could have a heart attack tomorrow. That's what they're thinking. I'm like, I'm not trying to scare you. Number 2, and they usually don't know it. Like, they usually don't know the second largest number, or second leading killer in the United States today, and it's cancer. And guys, this is where it's like, you don't feel cancer growing most of the time. In fact, like, you look at breast cancer, which is it's definitely been popularized by the screenings and awareness and things, which is definitely good. But like, even mammograms, guys, like the average breast cancer, like it's years of growth. Some experts say 8 or 9 years of growth before the thing can detect it, meaning that you might have scanned yourself before and it missed it. Like that's not a good early detection. Like, that's why we talk about thermography so much. There's no radiation. First of all, you're not radiating one of the most sensitive tissues in your body, but it's going to catch it much sooner. And heaven forbid, if you have a abnormal scan on a thermal scan, then you can go get a mammogram, the diagnostic image. But guys, like, my point is this, is saying health is not how you feel, it's how you function and it's how you heal. The first 4 letters of health is heal. And we talked about the power that makes the body, heals the body. So why I love working with my patients and why I love doing the adjustments I perform. Guys, I want to be very frank with you. I just go over here, lay my hands on people. I feel areas that are out of alignment. They're subluxated is what we call it, right? Subluxations, that misalignment in the spine that is putting interference on those nerves. I adjust that. I pop your back and people's pain go away. But come on, that's not exciting. What's exciting is they function better. Like, they have cool little mini miracles that happen in their life. That's not my hands doing the work. That's you. The power that made the body heals the body. That's you doing the work there. So like, when we talk about what organ system controls all function of the body, it's the brain and nerves, right? And so back to the heart question, right? 99% blockage going to the coronary artery. Everyone wants to raise their hand. I want to know if my coronary artery is blocked. Great. How many people know if their nerve is blocked going to the heart? How many people would want to know if it was 99% blockage to the nerve going to the heart? And of course, all the hands go up, but they go, I have no idea how to do that. They're at least kind of aware of echocardiograms and some of the scans we can do for the heart, but they're sitting there like, these high schoolers, by the way, they're just like, I don't know, how do you scan a nerve? Is that like crazy sci-fi stuff, right? And it's like, no, the body actually gives us a lot of warning signs. I call them check engine lights, but guys, these things right here alert us that something can be wrong in the body, right? And I want to be very clear here, and it's kind of cool to say this, chiropractic doesn't cure any of this, right? Like, a chiropractor doesn't fix this stuff. A chiropractor is trained to look and say, ooh, you got this check engine light, let me go to the electrical system, the nervous system, and evaluate that area and see if you have subluxation. See if you have that misalignment so I can correct the interference so that your body can function and heal better. So once again, we're very cause driven. So once again, when I see this stuff, first of all, my heart weeps if you have a lot of this stuff. If you're looking at the screen, you're going, yep. Guys, it's time to get your spine checked, okay? When I say spine checked, it's because, look, we want to look at the structure that is designed to protect and guard the nervous system. I mean, think about it. Like your heart has little windows that can see through. Like it's got ribs. I can see out their lungs. I mean, you can puncture your lung. Your GI tract is down here. It's got no ribs around it, but like your brain is completely encased in hard bone. Your spinal cord has literally chinks of armor called vertebra, all right? And there's these very tiny little holes that the nerves are allowed to come out of. And the thing is, we have that whole entire segments, right? All those segments of the spine. And then all of a sudden we get in a car accident, or oh my goodness, we have that stressful situation at work that just won't go away day in, day out. It does this to you. And all of a sudden your structure changes. And now when the structure moves out, and if your structure's bad, all of a sudden now your function's bad, right? When your function's bad, your healing goes bad, all right? And that's what we love talking about, because the body needs no help, just no interference. So what do? I check to see what's going on. We want to do an exam, we want to do range of motion. I want to palpate the spine. We want to check and see, is your spine looking correctly, moving correctly? Because if it's not, that is a sign of misalignment of subluxation. And that's when we want to take an x-ray and we want to see what's going on there. So when I talk about chiropractic and the immunity, and I just want to be very frank, guys, there are studies that have been dated for decades talking about this concept, but they show, there's so many studies out there, but there's one specifically that talked about chiropractic patients under care for 5 years, right? Get this, or more, have been found to have a 200% greater increase in their immune competence, meaning that it was functioning at a higher level. And to me, I'm kind of like, now I'm like, well, of course. I mean, like, they were well adjusted. They were functioning and healing better. What else would you expect? It's a big difference between someone who's not been under chiropractic care and says, oh, I'm sick, I'm gonna go rush and treat my sickness with an adjustment. That's not the same, guys. That's still trying to treat from the outside in. You're trained that way because that's what all the commercials and radio commercials say, is like, when you have this, ask your doctor if this is right for you. I mean, that's just how it goes. We're talking about a commitment to a lifestyle change. We're talking about, hey, how many people know if they have a straight spine from the front, level hips, unrotated hips, and then 3 good curves from the side? Do you guys know what your x-rays look like? Do you know how much tension and interference is on your nervous system right now? Because if the answer is no, then that's my encouragement, is get plugged into our office. Mention that you watch this video, and the cool thing is we give 50% off of x-rays. Like, I do the 50% off of x-rays because normally it's $100 for x-rays in our office. We do $50 for that, and the exam is only $35. But guys, my point is this, is like, I want you guys to think about this, because our November workshop is on blood sugar, diabetes, and how to manage the sugar in your life. So we're gonna spend a lot more time there. But my point here, guys, is I want you to not just come by yourself. I want you to bring a friend. I want you guys to think about who needs to be in that seat next to you. We're gonna be live next time. We're gonna be right here in the office. And this is where I want you to consider, you know what? I have no idea if my friend, or maybe even myself, if you're a guest watching this, like, if the loved ones in my life know where they're at. And the cool thing is we're gonna get around with family here. Thanksgiving, one of my favorite holidays, and some people are complainers. Some people just love complaining at you, and have them ready to go. Are you treating symptoms only, or would you like to find the cause of the problem? And that's where I believe, beginning with the simple thing first. If you check the structure first and get the structure right and get you functioning right, you start to heal right. And how many people we see start to change their lifestyle and turn it around just by doing that. I love it. It's so fun to watch. And once again, just to be frank with you, we very specifically analyze the spine and see where things are at, but we look at it with a process and procedure in mind that we know if we do these things, it is going to correct the structure, and I don't have to worry about you functioning better or healing better, because that happens by default. It begins with a trust in God's own system. Like, God needs no help, He needs no interference. That's what the body needs, and that's the fun thing I get to unlock within people here, right? It takes work, right? It takes some commitment, it takes you doing some exercises, it takes some health choices that are differently. But guys, the care is so much better on the other side. I want to introduce you to Sally, and this is just kind of fun for me to share, because Sally is that person that came in very mild neck pain, but saw us at one of our dinners, and she came in because a friend invited her. And she didn't think she was that bad. And when you look at the x-ray on the left, her neck is a 0-degree curve. It's straight. And if you get to see her jaw drop, because when I told her she had arthritis already developing, like, she felt fine. She was like, yes, I get some stiff neck every once in a while. It hurts every once in a while. I get these headaches every once in a while. The check engine lights were there, guys. But this is where arthritis had already been developing, and I told her for years. And she looked at that and immediately was like, I gotta take action. Like, I have to take action. And the cool thing is, and you can see the picture on the right, like, she put in the work. She came in the visit, she came in, and she had to come in multiple times a week and then down to once a week. And then the cool thing is she's in maintenance. Like, she doesn't have to come that frequently because she now knows how to maintain her spine and how to keep this stuff at bay and how to live over here. And that's the difference here. We evaluate the structure so that we can make sure that you function and heal to the best of your ability. So now that's my favorite part of every single workshop. It's your action steps. I want you to take specific time right now. I want you to think of that person right now. I mean, who's that person that you're gonna invite to the next workshop? Who's that person that you're gonna bring with you? Just at least a very least to talk and laugh at me, right? But I think this is where, once again, I want you guys to learn. I want you guys to put it into practice, all right? So right now, please write that name down wherever you're at, on your phone, on a notepad, wherever that's at in your journal, your planner, write it down. And this is where, once again, I want you to get plugged in for the next workshop. We're gonna be putting those details up on our website, all around the office. Miss Becky's so amazing at decorating the office. It's so fun to watch her artwork every time it happens. But guys, you guys get the drill. This is not just for you. This is for other people, all right? And then the other thing too is I want you guys to write down, what are your action steps? What am I putting into practice after this workshop? How am I going to increase the function of my immune system from the information I learned tonight, all right? We spend a lot of time on mindset, but guys, keep in mind, it's not just the mindset. There's fuel from the nutrients that fuels your body. And like, once again, your body's gotta have fuel to run it. And this is also where, once again, some of you guys need to do consistent exercise to keep that moving. But guys, plain and simple, this is where I hope you guys got a lot out of tonight. I hope you guys have written down your action steps. Get plugged in, ask us questions. I can't ask you guys enough. If you have something to question about tonight, like, get plugged in the office, ask us right away, dive into your Line Your Health book. And then also, just once again, this is just to give you a kicker here, is if you guys are not taking the supplements, right supplements, ask us, what can I do to impact that? I don't want to even give you like here's a mass supplement bundle to buy just for you, but I want to ask you guys to get into the office, ask us, hey, here's what I'm taking. What do you think is good? Is this good, or do I need to do something else? And especially I just want to be challenging you guys, during a pandemic, the number one thing that I have focused on, even while having a baby, is sleep, right? I want to get quality sleep because I know my body heals the most when I sleep, right? So that's one of my commitments I've made during this pandemic, and I just feel like, man, that helps, right? But guys, keep that in mind. Like, write these things down, put it into action, and then do it. Tell someone, tell us, so we can help keep you accountable as well. If it's a nutrient thing, like if it's a nutritional thing, get plugged in and do it. But guys, I've kept you guys long enough here tonight. I want you guys to have a blast. I want you guys to live in confidence. And this is where, once again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And we'll look forward to seeing you back here in the office. Have a good night.